a very important job of direction is rejection.
Wow.
I was in the Gujarat Lit Fest, and the people were all big people were on stage and all that, and they were calling out names like so and so applause, so and so applause. My name came, no applause. The director of Shubmangal Saga, applause. I got a call from Amir sir, and he was looking deadly serious. I was like, "Ye to comedy script hai. Why is he serious?" So obviously he didn't like it, and I was like, "Man, I thought okay." And then he said, "You know what? I love it." I was like, "What?" "I love it, Prasanna. Let's do this."
That's all.
That's when I breathed, man. Seriously. If you see the audition tapes, you will know that they are born to act. They are the kind of people, like for example, Atli is a dear friend of mine, right? Lokesh Kanagaraj, Karthik, they do films with conviction. I think that's what matters. It's like love, it's like romance, it's like sex. Each to his own.
Yeah.
Like what turns me on may not turn you on, right?
I love how you keep going back to that area. Okay, nice.
That's why I did Galatta.
Hello, artist Prasanna. Welcome back to the cameras, I must say.
Thank you.
Before we begin, we were talking the other day about negativity on the internet. And you told me this beautiful thing that Balu Mahindra told you about crows and other things. I want you to just say that before we start the interview, just because it's like so, it was a very Balu Mahindra-esque thing that, and of course you're a student of L.V. Prasad and you've interacted with Balu Mahindra, you made a documentary on him. So,
And that's how we met.
And that's how we met.
Yeah.
So,
Balu sir told in the documentary I made of him, this was, I think, the closing segment of it. And he said that, I'll say it in Tamil and then I'll translate. Because in Tamil it was very nice.
Yeah.
I'll give you a rough version of Tamil. Kuilgal mattum paada vendum endral, kaade nisabdam agividum. If only the beautifully singing koels have to sing. And you go to the crows and says that you can't crow because you're disturbing the beauty of the koels, the whole forest will fall silent. He said the forest should be democratic in its voices. Let the koels sing, let the crows crow. Because if you go to a crow and say, why don't you sing like a koel, the crow will say, but this is all I know. So he said that I used to be very angry as a young guy and said, oh, this is the correct kind of cinema and everything else is mediocre. He said with age, I came to realize that there's beauty in this chaos.
right.
So I think very wise words from Balu sir.
Very nice. I want to kind of theme this interview about a Tamil filmmaker in Bollywood, right? So, in 2013, you make Kalyana Samayal Sadam. The film is a success. Then your next release is in 2017, which is a remake of this film, which is Shubmangal Sadhan with Ayushmann Khurrana.
Correct.
Between these two films, did you try to mount other projects?
No. A lot of people were asking me at that time that why don't you do something else? You know, but the way I work, Badi, is that when I was talking to Anand Rai, when the movie was running in Chennai, Kalyana Samayal Sadam, I think it was 30 days in.
Yeah.
And I had an offer from him. He said, I'm going to make this film. And he hugged me and then we met the next day. And then, you know, I've said this in an interview also before that, you know, he spoke to me in ways that I've always wished, you know, that I found a mentor in him. I found like, you know, a home in him. You know, the way he spoke about how I had written the screenplay and how the first 20 minutes was about making people fall in love with the hero, heroine and then start this whole. So in him, I found a great storyteller, which I knew always, but I found like a mentor, you know, and who was at the right time. He was also trying to become a producer right now. He was looking for younger proteges, so to speak, to kind of mentor, right? So in him, I felt that this is a great opportunity for me to invest my time into this. And now, somehow, I fell in love with the concept of this movie going to Bollywood. I felt like Vicky Dona, that it will actually go bigger in Hindi too. And somehow that faith, you know, prevented me from doing anything else. I would either be at home reading books and then just following up on, we had a lot of meetings with writers, we were rejecting them. So there was a lot of work. In fact, I'll tell you one beautiful thing. It was a year in, we rejected so many writers.
A year after the release of
Kalyana Samayal Sadam, basically after I got a kind of like a token amount and all that. So a lot of people are asking me, what are you doing there? You know, so it got to me at one point because I had nothing to show. And I was feeling very guilty for all the flight tickets and all the money that this man is spending and there's nothing to show. I mean, we have just been rejecting writers. So one day he came to me and said, does it feel like you're running on a treadmill?
that is Anand Rai comes to you and says,
Yeah, because he found me a little gloomy in one corner in his office. He said, "Does it feel that you're running on a treadmill?" I said, "Yes, Anandji." But more than that, I feel that, are you feeling like, why did I start this thing? He said, "No. You remember, Prasanna, a very important job of direction is rejection."
Wow.
He said, "Rejection is work." That blew my mind. I was like, man. Till today, I follow that advice which Anand ji gave me, that rejection is work. So don't think that you have not got a writer. You have rejected 8 writers. Good, you've done your job. Now go back to Chennai and come back when I call you. Then I was like, if I have a guy like you believing in the project, the least I can do is be available whenever you want. Because I feel if I am going to put a faith on a young director and I call him and he's like not available, or I'll be like, dude, I'm trusting you so much. I want you here. I mean, it's not a very practical thing to do, but I feel emotionally that way. And somewhere I feel that that conviction was very natural for me. And I feel it is very important for a producer of this nature, when you're doing something as big a shift as Chennai to here and all that, to see that conviction being reciprocated by the director. I feel a director's first primary job is conviction, because he or she is the only one who's seeing the film in their head. And if you're also going to be like up and down and listening to everybody, trend, uske liye to, there's a lot of people for that. What is your job? Your job is to be having the conviction, so that when Anand would call me and say, you know what, this writer has come, you want to meet him, I'm ready to do that.
Right.
And I recognize it as a big leap in my life in terms of my storytelling voice. I feel would have resonated very well with the multiplex audiences across India. And Anandji was there to mentor me. So that's why I took that gap.
That 4-year gap, right?
Yeah. But the shoot happened, sorry to interrupt, the shoot happened from first day of shoot to release was 6 months.
Right. It happened quickly.
Yeah.
But the thing is, yes, Anand Rai is a great guy. He's giving you faith. He's probably even giving you some checks, some money to keep you going in that time. But there is still the question of so many things can change. Will this film ever get made?
Correct.
How did you conquer those demons inside your head?
I think I'm always attracted to directors who are like that. Like Anand Rai himself had told me so many stories of Ranjana getting rejected, but yet he did it. Tanuved's Manu. So I think I've always admired directors who are like, who had only conviction and dreams in their eyes and craft. It's post facto that they became big. So those are the kind of directors I always love. Be it K. Balachandar sir, lot of Kamal sir's films, be it Amir sir's films, James Cameron, all of them fought against the tide. So I feel that those were the guys I've grown up admiring, right? And so it became an opportunity to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like I remember Amir sir telling about Lagan, that when he was confused at one point, that it came to a decision where, okay, I need to do this, but I could die. It's like, he said, and very beautiful interview he gave, and I remember watching that, and he said that, I just went back I spoke to my mom and, everything, but then there was a point where I had to decide now, okay, you can sync with this or not. So at that time, I just went and said, listen, you're a fan of Guru Dutt's Pyasa, you're a fan of Mughal-e-Azam, right? What did you admire about those guys? They just went after it, right? If you don't go after it now, isn't this that opportunity? So then I suppose he said, fuck it, in his mind, I suppose, and said, he dove in. Right. So I've always wanted to do that, Baddy, like, the opportunity to kind of go through that high, and, it is very risky. There were so many days when I felt like I'm stupid. There were so many days whenever Anand Rai would not pick up my call, I would get anxiety attacks. He would call after 2-3 days. Those are all definitely there. But I think for me, my main insecurity is doing a film which I don't believe in. That is my primary insecurity. Not whether the film will happen, not whether the film will not happen.
So the basic thing is, yes, I'm going to trust that this film will happen.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen,
we'll
do something else.
We'll do something else, because that is always there, because Kalyana Samasaram is a loved movie. So I also realized in this journey that the love that a director gets is very important, and we don't talk about that as much, We talk about only quantifiable commodities like money, box office and all that. But actually, I feel a director's job is to make a movie that people, at least a certain amount of people should love and will love very strongly. So then you will always have champions around you. Like there were other producers also who would work. And worst case, I know if this doesn't work, Anandji and I have an equation. We'll figure out something. And I might do a web series or wo to hona hi hai. And living in Chennai, and married to a beautiful woman, Meena, who's very frugal and I'm also frugal, we could kind of stretch our monies to fit a lot more number of months than if I were living in Bombay, for example.
Done. So that phase is over. But just to reconfirm, you did not yourself pitch anything to Chennai producer or actor or anything like that.
Uh, I don't think so. I might have, like, for example, Shashikant is a dear friend of mine. I was discussing some project with him, but not actively.
Not actively,
Not
because you were like you put
This is
all
all
the
I
eggs in that one basket and said,
Yes.
"This I'm going to make the jump to to
My
Bollywood.
theatrical is going to be this.
My next theatrical is going to be
Yeah,
this."
I did
right?
one film for the Chinmaya Mission on a
Yeah,
quest.
that's the documentary.
But that
kind
is
of-
like,
yeah.
that doesn't count in this thing. So yeah, I was like wanting to do that because I feel somewhere, Baddy, that that gives me a high to be, to have an opportunity to try something new, to try something challenging and like death defying stunt type.
Yeah. So if these questions are seeming a little basic, the reason is I want to also like, because you're one of the few people who've seen both sides of the ecosystem. You've seen the Tamil ecosystem, you've seen the Hindi ecosystem. So I'm like trying to see how you navigated that, right?
I'm enjoying this.
So Shubhmangal Savdan becomes a hit, right? What is your like, now I have to capitalize on this and become a national level player. Is that your thought?
No, my thought was that I should not lose this. Like what I got after a lot of effort, my immediate fear
But what
was
is this?
with my second.
Define this. Lose what?
One is love from the people.
Okay.
Like I'll tell you an example of that. I was in the Gujarat Lit Fest and the people were, all big people were on stage and all that, and they were calling out names like so and so applause, so and so applause, so and so applause. My name came, no applause. The director of Shubhmangal Savdan, applause. What else does a director want? You know, you don't want your name to be, you want your movie to be loved. And if you get that, oh, you're, okay, this guy. It's happened so many times, even for Kalyana Samal Sadhan. Okay, this guy, they'll all be like, okay, hi. Hey, he directed Shubhmangal Sadhan. What? Really? What else can be flattering, man? That you're getting love for not how you look or for how you seem or for anything, but genuinely for your work.
Yeah.
You know, so that is the biggest side. So I was very scared that will go away if I screw up by doing a film, which is not from my ethos of thinking. So main thing was I recognized one thing, that first films, I read somewhere that first films are prepared for your lifetime. Like for your whole life, you've been preparing your first film, so to speak. And the second film is actually when your test begins. Because now the audience is kind of wanting to know that are you going to at least equal this, or are you going to better it, or are you going to do something lesser. And for me, the parameter is not box office or anything. I feel just in terms of, is it a movie from your heart? I think I need a story, I need a thought, I need a kind of thing where I'm like, wow, this is so exciting. Because the rest of it can be figured out. And rest of it can go completely wrong. But at least I should be able to say, you know what, there was this kernel of an idea which excited me, and maybe I've screwed up the execution, So I was waiting for that to happen.
So then, how does Sitaare happen? Your plan then was my next movie should be a Hindi film.
Yeah.
You did not want to.
Because I got a lot of love from here. I got a lot more meetings from here. I also felt that there's a certain urban sensibility in my writing, which I feel Hindi cinema gives and I've told this in the previous interview also. Somehow my urban sensibility, I feel that I saw that in movies like, like Dam Laga Ke Haisha, or I don't know if that's urban or rural, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like a
softer films.
Softer, yeah, like a little more nuanced
films types,
yeah.
Which Tamil cinema does all the time. But I'm not saying that they don't do it. But I'm a city boy. I love the Tamil cinema, But most of those films like that come from a rural background, which I'm not aware of. So I felt that, okay, here's an opportunity where I didn't screw up the first time. People are giving me meetings here. And my comfort working with people here also in terms of budgeting and production and all that. I was very happy in Bombay.
Okay.
I was very happy with the production systems here, where there's a first lady who takes care of scheduling. There's like a EP. So a lot of burden is taken off the director's back. There are also writers who are available. One of the strangest things that happened was I was getting pitched scripts. So I'm like, dude, wow, you're actually going to pay me to just direct, which is again great. right? That's an ecosystem that we still need to kind of develop that.
Yeah, that's practically non-existent in Tamil. I think.
Yeah, and we should do something about that, you know. So all those pluses are there. And I met a lot of lovely producers, like Sidroy Kapoor and I really hit it off well. And we intend to do something together at some point. He's also a very patient producer, understands directors' feelings, you know. So I was also like, there were some films which kind of almost happened, but I kind of took a step back because I felt little uncomfortable with the production setup and all that, you know. So I was a little foolish that way. And every time I would talk to my family and my wife and my, you know, friends, and I would tell them that here's a film ready to go, there's good money and everything. So they're like, then why are you asking us? Like something's bothering you. I'll say, no, the vibe is off, I don't feel comfortable. I mean, now any other family would have been like, are you stupid? But my family is not like that. They want to make sure that, you know, you do something where you're comfortable.
Yeah, I know Dad loves films as well.
He loves films.
Yeah, so the thing is, it comes from a place of
Yeah.
there's a support there.
Yeah, and he can sense, you know, we're very
Yeah.
sense. He senses that, okay, he's not comfortable, there's something off. You can't put a finger to it, but that intuition is part of direction.
Yeah.
Something tells you that, you know, it could be as simple a thing as they're seeing a different film. That's going to ruin the journey, you know, because the producer has got the right to enforce the vision because they are the one funding it. Now, if the producer and I are not on the same page, it's very important that we discuss it upfront, right? Otherwise, you get a sense that, okay, but we'll do it later. Oh, no, that scares me.
Yeah.
No, we can't do it later because this is the script and this is the, let's have all our fights right now and we can agree to disagree, right? So all those things were there. Through all that, I was aware of my depleting bank account also. But again, thanks to my family and this thing, there was a hope that, okay, this guy is crazy, let him do whatever the hell he wants. And when this story, you know, of Sitaare Zameen par evolved, I like to credit my writer Divo Sharma. So he was a guy I found along the way, right? So I was also looking for one main thing, which is that I needed to find a writer, right, who understands the culture here, like I understood Kalyana Samil Sadam world, somebody who understands the culture here and the world here, but who I can vibe with and I can trust with writing. Because I realized if I have to grow, I can't be doing backseat driving on any department. I needed people better than me to do their jobs, right? In Divo Sharma, I found a fabulous writer, and I hope when you see the film, you'll see that. Like I would say that for me, he's like a student of Crazy Mohan and a student of Gulzar.
Oh.
A very unlikely combo. As funny as, you know, the school that Crazy Sir is the principal of, and Gulzar Saab's poetry and that lyrical kind of soft, you know. So and those are all like unproduced scripts. And he was also saying that I don't know why this is not getting produced. I'm like, dude, if I had the money, what a great script, you know. So we really hit it off. Like maybe in a way, like I used to read about how PC sir and Mani sir and Kamal sir used to sit and chat and talk, not knowing hours together. So in Divya, I found, you know, that thing. And so then I would give him some stories and we would write. And he had complete scripts. In one of those discussions, this story was in our hands. Immediately, the next question was that, okay, I've got my writer sorted, you know. He's a guy I completely trust. Now, who do I take it to produce this, to mount it? You know, because this is not an easy film to produce or act in, or it's not easy in any way in the starting. After the pre-prod, hopefully things get easy. So then I could think of only Amir sir. When I told this to people, they were like, yeah, right. You want Tom Cruise, right? Ha 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 ha. You want Tom Hanks. Oh yeah, of course you'll get. Next you'll want Spielberg also. So that's the kind of, you know, that's a reality also. After telling Divya this, that I think the only person who can do justice to it is Mr. Amir Khan. He was the only guy who didn't laugh. He said, yeah, you're right. And next second I was in deep sorrow because obviously it's not going to happen, right? Because like I've done one film and how is it going to happen, right? So luckily, Amir sir's manager Shamat had reached out to me 2 years ago, maybe a year after Shubh Mangal, and Advait and I had met the director of Lal Singh and Secret Superstar, and we hit it off. Maybe there was some chatter about me, you know, he would have told to Amir sir, maybe, I don't know, I should ask him. So Shamat had reached out about 2 years before this and said that if you have a good script, you want to pitch it to Amir sir. I was like, yeah, dude, of course, I mean, who would not want to? And I was like, but I need to get that good script or a thing. This one I took it to Shamat and said, dude, I think I found the thing which Amir sir would, I mean, he may not say yes to, but at least I can give a narration. So he kind of heard a bit of it and said, I think so too, but don't get your hopes high. So Shamat was the guy. After that, for almost 1.5 years, he would be my kind of like the in Batman you have that ninja monk who's like teaching you what to do to stay calm. So he'd be the guy who says, don't get your hopes up. This is happening, but don't get. So every step of that. So for example, the first time Amir sir's narration happened, am I like going to, you want to?
No.
You're happy?
I'm laughing because getting an interview with Amir Khan is kind of like that, because it's like, I think it's going to happen, but like,
Yeah.
don't celebrate yet. I think it might happen, but don't
yeah.
celebrate yet.
That's been my life for 5 years. I think it's going to happen. Don't celebrate it. Because you're always like,
Yeah.
on guard. So anyway, the narration happened. And it's so strange. It happened during COVID, that 2020 time. And it was like the Dangal climax. So, where he gets locked in the room and the daughter is there and he doesn't know what's happening until the national anthem happens. So, I was supposed to get my COVID certificate. I couldn't get it on time. So, Divya went to Panchgani, the guest house, because Divya stays in Mumbai. He could travel.
Where were you at that time?
So, both of us were supposed to go to Panchgani, me from Chennai and he from Bombay.
Okay, so you still hadn't moved to Bombay then?
No.
Okay.
No way. This is like episode 1 of the story.
Okay.
Right? So, this was the first narration we're giving him.
Roughly what is the year?
2020, 16 September.
20? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know the date.
Okay.
That when my life changed.
Okay.
So I was supposed to fly in and Divya was supposed to go there. We were supposed to meet the Amir Khan and give an interview. And my certificate is not coming on time. And then I told Shamat, you know what, Shamat, chuck it. He's the narrator. I'm just going to be this 2.5 hours of narration. I'm going to be like this shaking bones who has nothing to contribute, right? And Divya is a great narrator. So I was like, it's important that he narrates, right? So with all that COVID protocol and distancing and all that, they figured out. And so Shamat was supposed to link me up on video call. And that day the internet failed. So I am like, dude, don't do this to me. He said, I'm sorry, dude. Now, after the narration.
Sorry to interrupt, but these are the things that, like you laugh at.
Yeah.
But then at that point,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
when it's happening, this like
Tragedy plus time, Woody Allen. Humorous tragedy plus time. So, yeah, man. So I was locked in my room in Chennai, literally, and going up, to my wife and saying that, I don't know what to do. I was full, and fully I went into Zen mode. I was like, okay, big deal if it doesn't happen. It's okay. I'll try again next time. And, trying to say all these things, knowing that it's not going to happen. And then 2.5 hours later, I'm like, I think it should be over. Why is sir not calling? Okay, he didn't like it. Okay, big deal. At least you got a narration. Well, at least I could have met him and got a no from him, right? I had lunch with him, something. Then 15 minutes over, I thought, oh, itna bura tha kya? Like, he's not even calling, dude. I was like calling, Divya is not picking up. Then I got a call from Amir sir. And he was looking deadly serious. I was like, ye to comedy script hai. Why is he serious? So obviously he didn't like it. And I was like, man, I thought, okay. I said, sir, tell. And I actually kept a notebook there with pen and notes and all that. And then he said, you know what? I love it. I was like, what? I love it, Prasanna. Let's do this.
That's all.
That's when I breathed, man. Seriously. Let's do this. That's when I breathed.
So, your Amir Khan film happened with your writer narrating the script to Amir, with you not being present at all.
Like the Dangal dad.
And him calling you and saying he likes, this is like a nice roundabout, lovely story.
But that's also very beautiful, because I think I've always spoken in your interviews also about the importance of a writer. And I feel we don't give enough respect to writers at all. And I think it couldn't have been more poetic.
Yeah.
And it could have been more reflective of my love for Divya and his writing, that he was the guy there who went and narrated, because he's a fabulous narrator too. If it was anybody else who's a good writer, but not a good narrator, I would have said no.
Yeah.
But however bad my Hindi may be, I'll give a Chennai accented Hindi, but I'll narrate. He's such a fabulous narrator. So yeah, that's how it started. The episode 1 started like that.
No, so then you get this, and the plan is to make this film.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is Sitaare Zameen.
Yeah.
And
at that time it was untitled.
Untitled.
The
Okay,
Sitaare Connect came later.
When did you say, I'm going to move to Bombay?
So Amir sir said that to move to Bombay at one point. So basically we knew that from this thing, okay, now this is the first major step. Like, okay, AK sir likes the script. And he said, I have very minor few notes here and there. And I had kept like a big book of notes. So very minor notes. Once we get to it, we'll get to it. And he said, right now I'm busy with Lal Singh. And then we started talking. Like, Lal Singh is happening and there's a COVID lockdown and all that thing was happening, right? So he said, you know what, I want to make this. but you need to give me time because it's not going to happen overnight. So I told him, sir, time, I am the best guy to give you time, sir. I waited 3 years for my first film. So he was like, okay, but this might take a long time. I said, I'll wait for you for 10 years. Because, I mean, it's like for you, for any director, you're the Mount Everest, right? I want to make this movie and I want to make it with you. Whenever you are comfortable and he's in the middle of a film, dude. So, I mean, I was very lucky that he even took time. So I was like, finish your film, sir, and we'll keep meeting whenever you want, I am on. So then I think 2022 Jan end I shifted to Mumbai 2 years later. By then Lal Singh had kind of finished the shoot and COVID lockdowns again came. I think COVID happened much more longer than all we expected, but we used to have our discussions about basic scheduling and basic casting process. All that work had already started towards this film.
What's interesting is that you didn't just shift, you said, I'm going to move my family
Yeah.
to Mumbai.
Yeah.
So you're really a guy who likes to take big chances. Like actually,
Calculated
from the
chances.
Calculated, but what
I
I'm
didn't shift
saying
my
is,
family for Shubh Mangal. I didn't shift my family for Shubh Mangal.
yeah. So what I'm saying is, you make Kalana Samay Sadam. Over years, you're like, I'm going to wait for this big chance with Anand L. Rai because I think he's going to make this film.
Yeah.
And that is the chance you're taking.
Yes.
I'm not doubting Anand L. Rai for a minute, but
Of
there are
course.
so many things that can happen
100%.
in film production that similarly,
Correct.
Amir says, let's do this film. So many things that could happen.
Correct.
But you're like, instead of me moving to Mumbai and doing this film and then coming back to Chennai time to time, like every weekend or something like that.
Correct.
I'm going to move my entire family to Mumbai.
Correct.
That's a big decision.
It's a big decision.
And that happened because?
Because of Amir sir. Because honestly, I trust him so much.
What made you
I'll
say
tell you.
this will be your new home?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. So I didn't move during that 1.5 years because we know that. So then we had meetings. Then Amir sir said, this is the film that I want to do next after Lal Singh. And then one of those conversations, I had already told them that, see, with Amir sir, what happens is, I myself take a long time to, do a film, and he is the bap of that, right? So I knew that it's going to be a year or 2. That's the kind of time Amir sir. So a lot of people in Hindi, they say, Amir sir time lete hai. I say, no, that's not true. Amir sir time dete hai. There's a big difference. I don't understand this concept of he takes so much time. No, he gives time to the director. He gives time to the team for the preparation. So I like that. In my heart and mind, I know that this movie, if Amir sir were to do it, there is that confidence within me that as an Amir fan, as a cinema fan, that it will really reach so many more quarters than it would otherwise with any other good actor, So I knew that is something that will happen once he comes on board. But I didn't shift my family until the point where we actually, like, okay, we're going to start this process. And we were discussing, most of it we're doing online, like basic casting. Then came a point where Amir sir also got done with that Lal Singh, and I think edit was kind of getting locked and all that. And the movie was supposed to release in 8 months. So that time around, he said, okay, now Prasanna, now you come here. And already told his team that, I like to have my family. And he himself is a family man. So he understands all that. And my wife is a huge sport. So she also is the kind of person who, in fact, Amir sir got my kids admission into school. So it's just that implicit faith in this man. And again, a small, beautiful, emotional thing I can tell you. I don't know the geography of Bombay. I've been here and all, but I was constantly, I was so foolish. I kept telling his team that, Bandra and all is very filmy people. I'm a South Indian, so I want to stay in Chembur.
Okay.
Not realizing that filmy people could obviously mean Amir sir also, right? I didn't mean it that way. So then Amir sir came on the video and said, so come over tomorrow and all, but now I want you to stay next to me. And to him also I'm saying, sir, I want to stay in Chembur, sir, because, I'm a very South Indian guy. I'm also like that, man. I'm very simple. Said, no, sir, you are like that, but I want to stay away from filmy people. Acha, so you're calling me filmy? I said, sir, not you, So it was very, very cute. And I said, sir, so sorry, sir. I mean, it's your fault that one doesn't remember it's Amir Khan, right? Like, you're so sweet. Like that, I said like that, and I kind of did a curveball and went away from that. So he got my school kids admission, and he took that extra effort. And that really touched me, and next day I was having food with his family. Like, I think Amir sir is that kind of a person, like in that sense, very old school, right?
Right.
That he gets bonded with his team.
Like, once he takes you in fully.
Fully.
It's not just like he's my director.
No.
It's like he's part of my universe now.
No.
Yeah.
I think, and rightly so, for the kind of films he makes, like, I think he makes an emotional connect with the people he works with. And
Right.
he's all emotion. Like
Right.
Balu sir Like Balu Mahendra sir also used to say that, that we are all oversensitive and we are all over emotional. And he used to tell me this, that same sensitivity which makes you a fine artist can kind of put your personal life in turmoil.
Yeah.
Because you tend to overreact on small things.
No, no, also when the world outside is so quick to judge or so quick to jump on people or dismiss something or something, it can add to it. I mean, see, see, on the one hand, you enter this field. So knowing that this is how it is, right? But that doesn't stop you from feeling what you feel when something bad happens, right?
It's the same feeling.
Yeah.
I'd like to quote another great filmmaker who I love and I'm sure you do too, Meera Nair. She said this great quote about a filmmaker, right? She said that a filmmaker should have the heart of a poet, but the skin of an elephant.
Yeah, that's
What a great quote.
Yeah.
That's so true, man. Because your beating heart is what you're getting paid for actually. When you say short, okay, they're paying for your emotions only. But you can't get emotional. You know what I mean, right?
Right.
It's your emotion, but you can't get emotional over everything. In Kalyana Samalsadam, my producer Anand Govindan, I mean, he's a lovely person. He jokingly used to call me, Prasanna, you're a drama queen. I said, and you should be thankful for that. He used to be like, this guy is too arrogant. I think that oversensitivity and emotional bonding with people, which I saw in Anand Rai, in Arun Vaidyanathan, my first producer, in Amir sir also. I think that in fact gives me comfort. That here is a real person, here is a vulnerable person who understands that cinema is all about emotions. So, like I also work that way with my team. Like I really want to work with people who love the project, who love working with, we have to hang out like friends, otherwise it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because how am I going to come and tell you, for example, if you're the director, I say, Buddy, you know what, the scene is not working for me. Yeah. If you're like, oh, how dare you speak like that?
Yeah.
If I don't tell you, your audience is going to tell you, right? So Amir sir is also like that. So again, I found a lot of comfort in the fact that Amir sir as a person, like, the way he lives, he sits on the ground and he lives in a very simple home. In fact, the first time the driver took me to his house in Pali Hill, I was actually guessing, okay, this must be the bungalow. Okay, this must be the bungalow. Okay, not this. Oh, maybe that's the bungalow. Then he took me to this very Chennai kind of flats, right? And I was like, okay, maybe he wants to get down and piss and then go in the office and have a cup of coffee and then maybe go out. I said, no, I don't want a break. You can take me to Amir sir's house. He said, this is Amir sir's house. I said, Amir sir lives in flats? He said, yeah, this is childhood home. I mean, he owns every flat here, but that apart.
It's still a flat.
It's still a flat. So I was like, yeah, Ambani stays in a flat, albeit the most expensive one. But when I met Amir sir, I literally was like, you will understand. I was like, okay, he's like a Chennai guy. I can kind of relate to him. He's very simple and he loves South Indian food and all that. So I felt at home with him also.
So you move here and you decide to think. So would it be something you advise to urban filmmakers, because you specifically use that word, people who have a certain urban sensibility, supposing they find it difficult to get foothold in the Tamil film industry, would you say that coming here would be an option?
Though I wouldn't recommend it. See, also I have a lot of comfort with Bombay.
You would not recommend it, you're saying?
I would say that is not the parameter. For example, for me, I felt Mumbai is represented by Anand Rai, that particular person who called me here.
Yeah.
After that, then my mind tells me, oh yeah, Wiki Donor worked, blah, 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 Urban Voice. But the main thing is the person you're working with. If somebody from Malayalam cinema had called me, I would have made that film remake in Malayalam also, because that's another industry I really respect. Right? If somebody calls me tomorrow from an English, like a British co-production type, I'll gladly do that. I think it's the person who you kind of vibe with, right?
Right. So you're saying that Bombay became home because
of the people.
Of people like Anand Rai and Amir Khan and all those people who you resonated with.
In terms of sensibility and in terms of their lifestyle, we will, of course.
And the movies they want to make.
Exactly.
That's
of course, Amir sir is like the zenith of that.
Yeah.
But I found a comfort in the common language and all. I felt at home. So it's always the people about it. It's not the city or...
Right. So, but you're not saying, I don't want to make a Tamil movie.
No.
That's not you.
Like, for example, again, Shashikant is somebody I really admire. He's been a huge support from Kalyana Samalsadam, right? He's always wanted to make a film with me. I wanted to make a film. I want to do a Tamil film very, very desperately. But I might do a digital film, for example. I might not want to do a theatrical film in Tamil Nadu, because in Tamil, In fact, for me, my voice is even more, what do I say, more at home, even more pure. So I would love to do a film like Kaka Muttai or a film like Veedu, Balu Mahendra sir's Veedu, without any commercial, like a Mayadagan again, right? It had two big stars, wonderful film again, but some movie like that, where I don't have to worry about, is it going to work in that center, this center and all that.
Right. So basically something that makes you comfortable.
Come for maybe a multiplex film kind of.
Right. So now we've covered Prasanna's journey to the extent possible, but let's cover the journey of Sitaare Zameen first, right? Amir Khan says, I'm committed to this movie. I have a few issues here and there which we'll fix and all that. And you kind of say this is going to take off,
Yeah.
but it doesn't take off.
It doesn't.
So what?
It doesn't take off. Lal Singh premiere happens, and Advait is a dear friend, and we all obviously believe that it's a very beautiful film. And then the next day, we are all equally shocked by the fact that it didn't do well. And I mean, we were doing our work, and Amir sir kind of a month later called me and said that big news he gave everyone, that he's quitting cinema and all that. But the way he said it, no, Baddy, I felt actually very comfortable. It didn't matter to me that my first thought was not whether he's doing my film or, I'm a sucker for people who tell you things upfront. Like, I like your script, I don't like your script. I think this can be, it's easier working.
And please, life is too short to kind of
work any other way.
Yeah.
So give me a guy who tells me on my face that I want to quit cinema any day.
Yeah.
Over a guy who's speaking behind your back and telling you things in nothing. So Amir sir, like he told his whole company, he told me, and he's spoken about it also, that this poor guy from Chennai had to go through this and all that. Honestly, my first thought and my first response was, sir, it's okay, just come back. And I'm going to be with you, we're all going to be with you. I mean, you're never going to quit cinema. It's like, it's not going to happen. Right now, you're obviously, same Balu Mahendra sir's thing that, you're emotionally hurting and it's a film you've given 10 years to. So just come back. You don't need to work. And I'm just going to be there with you. We're all going to be there with you because I genuinely love the man, Not only for the kind of cinema that he does, but also my family and what he has done for me personally was just incredible, right? In all those 10 months, Baddy, we were casting for the film. And not once he would come and ask, how long is it taking? Show me what's happening. Nothing. He just asked me, are you happy? We're like, yeah, I'm very happy. Do you want to check? No, when you're happy, when you're done with it, show it to me. I'm too busy with this. So I was like, why would I, not be with this guy, right? So then I remember that 6 months, I think, journey of being with him was, in fact, some of the best days of my life. I told Amir sir also, of course, I'm very happy he did the film. Not that in any other way, but I said, sir, after the film release, we should kind of spend more time. Because what happened once the film started? No. It was actor, producer and director working. Right? In the break, we used to have fun. But it's a lot of work conversations, workshops and all that. That time, we have spent late nights, me, Divya and Amir sir at his Panchgani guest house singing Kishore Kumar songs. Me singing Tamil songs, talking to him about my love for Kamal, Ilayaraja and all that. Like, and then suddenly I remember one day, it was 4 a.m. dude, in Panchgani his guest house, and like Amir sir, me and Divya singing old Kishore Kumar songs. And I said, dude, and I was walking back with Divya to the guest house where he put us up. I said, Divya, how do you put a number to this? Like, what do I tell this moment? How do I kind of quantify? I can't say this is a 1,000 crore box office, because people now want everything. Have you signed the film? Is it releasing? If it's releasing, what is the number? Like this, what do I say? Like Kamal says, Adiyum Tandi Punidama. It's just such a beautiful moment, right? So yeah, I got to be with Amir sir at his best. That man was rising, man. Like, like he was like wanting to find out what went wrong and how can we do better, and like who gets that opportunity to be next to a man like Batman Rising types,
So that happens, you get him back on track, the movie gets back on track. What was the most challenging aspect of the movie for you? Because this is a little delicate in a subject matter, because your tone is humor.
Yeah.
Your subjects in the film are intellectually challenged. Yeah. What is the word for it?
Differently able.
Yeah. So that so the thing is
special people.
Special people. So the thing is, sometimes the tonality can go horribly wrong. Correct. Because you can try for something, and because of this. So what was that the big challenge there?
Honestly, Baddy, that was for me not a challenge, that was for me an opportunity, because I knew my voice is that. Like everybody knows their voice, right? Like I'm saying somebody like a Lokesh would be very comfortable with gangster films, for example, right? For me, that might not be my, I'd be like, okay, how does Lokesh do it? Like, it's wow, you know. For me, somehow, sensitive topics, humor and all is my, not that I don't struggle doing it, but it's my voice. It's my home. Like I, again, coming from, I think, watching Life is Beautiful, watching movies of Balachandar, again, K. Balachandar sir, again, very, very tough topics. Like I think, was it that movie where that girl is a prostitute in Delhi and she said Arangetram. Like stories like that, dude, if you release now also, people will be like, oh my God, you know. So I think I come from a culture where we have done very difficult subjects. Bhagiraj's films, my parents have seen Bhagiraj film and laughed at it. So I think Tamil cinema is actually tried a lot of risky stuff. And boys, for example, you know, we have actually done a lot of stuff which are very risky. So somehow my voice also matched with that. My challenge was more in terms of I'm handling Amir sir for the first time. Like I'm handling a superstar for the first time, and I was having a lot of anxiety that, you know, he's placing a lot of faith in me. I had imposter syndrome. Like when it was about to start, I was thinking I was so busy. Then when it didn't go, I was hoping it starts. Then miraculously it started. Then now I'm having imposter syndrome. So my wife was like, dude, make up your mind. You know, but I was having severe anxiety one night that what if sir fires me and what if I'm not good enough and this and that and all that. But then working with Amir sir, I realized actually he's the safest person to fail with or fail in front of. Like, you know, he's very comfortable with things not working. Like he's not going to judge you for that. He's only going to judge you if you don't try. Because he's also like that. Like he's the kind of guy who says, if you say first take okay, he gets scared. It's like, what? Why? First take mein okay ho gaya. Like he kind of warms up and he's happy with the second or third take, you know. Not too much. But he doesn't expect things to go right. And he's not a judgmental person. He believes in the process. He believes, okay, we're all in the same page. Let's try, you know. So that I realized later on, once the film started. So I was having a lot of anxiety while projecting confidence to all my team. I was constantly feeling that, why did I take up this subject? You know, I've done Shubh Mangal. This is like 10x the scale with special people. Would I be able to do it? But somehow that anxiety would stop the minute I reached the office. Like be it casting or be it somehow in the process, when you're with people, when you're right people, they're also scared. They're also anxious. Then you kind of get that, it's like a trance, man. It's like, until I started off our casting process, right? Again, that took about a year. And Amir sir was always giving me the confidence that started, it'll happen. In the casting process, until I got the first one, where I was like, wow. It took about 2-3 months for us to figure out the first 3-4. Until then, I didn't even know if this film could be ever cast. So that anxiety was always there. But I think the main challenge for me, therefore, was to control that anxiety. And then I realized the best way to do it is just turn up every day, turn up to the office every day and start working. Because that anxiety is your imaginative mind saying that you're not good enough. But when you're in office, whatever the pre-production is, production design, DOP, ke saath, whatever work, there something happens to all of us where we're like, oh, I love this, you know, and suddenly you kind of become like you get into a trance, and then like things fail, things work, all that. So I think that we had a lot of pre-production time, right? And that gives you a lot of confidence. So then when you're on set.
How long was the pre-production?
I would say about 8 months of casting, and which is kind of considered pre-production, right? 8 to 10 months of casting, workshops. So we created a small little kind of like a film school place here in the office nearby, where morning our selected Sitaare would come. Morning we'd give them acting workshops and all that. So some people I'd love to mention. Tess Joseph was a casting director. Anmol Ahuja, he came a little later and cast all the others in the film. My assistant Pawan became like a mother, father, brother to all of them. He would have lunch with them, he would vibe with them, give them medicines, whatever. Dr. Neena Vaidya was a consultant for special needs. Sylvana, basketball coach. Manoj Sharma did acting workshops with them. And all of these guys loved them, right? And Sitaare kind of absorbed all of us into their lives. And this was on and off for like 6 months of all this prep. Then about 4 months of production prep, which is your proper planning and all those things. So I would say overall a year, maybe
So the casting was about 8 months,
8 to 10 months.
and the actual pre-production was?
So I would say about the pre-production in terms of planning for the film is about 4 months.
4 months.
4 months.
Right. That-
Which is your location picking,
location, all
costume
that,
design,
scheduling, this thing, all that kind of stuff. Right?
And I must tell at this time that every single member of the HODs was selected for that X factor, that do I feel that these guys are genuinely doing this for the project, or so they didn't even know that it was Amir sir who's acting in it.
Oh.
Yeah, because luckily the news had gone out, that he's not acting and someone else is doing it and all that. So we it worked to our advantage, right? So they didn't know who's acting. After they said yes, of course, when the contract was being done, they were informed that this is Amir sir is doing the film. So they were like, I knew he was doing the film last year, but he's not doing the film now. No, it's a long story. He's back, that kind of a thing. And all my HODs, like my DOP, Srini Reddy, production designer, Nikhil, Apurva, Sachin, costume designer, Baddy, they would take effort. So this is what happens when you guys own your film, right? Each and every department, I can tell you small things they did to make sure that, like Srini would use LED lights which are cooler, so the eyes don't get, because we realized that some of them can get epileptic seizures if your lights are too bright. Simple things like we decided to light the environment completely and then go in for close-up, so we don't have too many setup changes and all that, which actually is anyway a great way to work. Costume, Sachin and his team, they would select fabric which would be very soft, because some of them had issues with certain materials would be itching them and bothering them. Production design, like colors which we have used are supposed to be like colors which are soothing for the especially abled, and like small things, dude. Like on the floor, like one day I went for on the final flooring, we do like a day before we go and check, right, that morning, and I found my production designer saying this is a very rough edge. What if they trip and fall? So he kind of beveled it and made it smoother. So all of these guys, just put in so much effort to just make it very comfortable for the Sitaare to kind of, to shine.
And one of the things that you notice in the film, the trailer, is that they seem to be acting very naturally.
Yeah.
That's the difficult thing, right?
Yeah.
Which is why sometimes people actually prefer to have like regular actors, pretending to be someone else simply because they can take instructions easier or something like that.
Correct.
But here you guys have really spent a lot of time trying to make them
not act, but act. So I think Anjali was the biggest confidence booster. Sitaare Zameen par with Darshil Zafri, what sir has done. So I had to, like Majid Majidi, so it can be done.
It can be.
Now whether I can do it was the imposter syndrome, but with a good team it happened. It kind of hopefully happened. But I think the main thing was we decided, also the movie Quest I did, right, On a Quest, that Chinmayananda biopic, which I did for the Chinmaya Mission organization. We used 130 new actors. None of them had faced the camera before, including Tota Tarini sir, who played the cameo in the end. And all my short films in my years, some of which you have seen, were all amateur actors, right? So I think there is a certain rawness and a certain innocence and unpredictability about good actors who are not trained actors.
Yeah.
So all of them, I will not call them non-actors. They're born actors. Like, I feel the talent is in them. So if you see their audition tapes.
No, I don't want to use the word non-actors.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
no, I know what you mean.
It's a strange thing, right? With acting, you have to, somebody's going to tell you something.
Correct.
You have to internalize it and then externalize it in front of the camera.
Correct.
It's a slightly...
but I'll tell you, correct. So I think I can get you to act like Baradwaj Rangan. If I get you to act like, for example, like Shivaji Ganeshan's role, that's very difficult. For example, if you're casting me as a guy who's kind of similar vibe to me, that is still an easier thing to do.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah, so the personality match, if the personality is matching the character a lot, right? So if, for example, looking for a character who's very somber, who's kind of an introverted character, and the audition, you see how good an actor they are, blah, blah, blah. But I spend a lot of time talking to them. That's my process of actually talking to them, spending time with them. So, my audition process was not a tape. Once we kind of shortlisted, we did a 5-day audition process, like a workshop. We would give them workshops and we would silently shoot them and I'd see the footage. And then I'd see them in their break, how they're talking, how they're walking, and I'll say that, this, oh man, this guy's got a great way of scratching his ear. We should use it. All this came from there.
Oh, okay.
So the 5-day audition process. So
So
I
it was
feel
actually their own traits.
they directed us.
Yeah.
We were like, you have the nature photography where you kind of respect nature, and you're a person who's kind of capturing it.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't tell a sunset to come at a particular time. You need to turn up early and wait.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we did that throughout, and all of my HODs were very aware of the fact that like a star, we wait for stars. They are a star. So we'll wait for them to perform, and if it takes a few more takes, so what?
Yeah.
I think that we created an environment where they could kind of free themselves and not be bothered. I think what happens is that if the personality match happens, of course we had 6 months of rehearsals and all that, that also helps. But I think all of them are born actors. They had that, if you see the audition tapes, you will know that they are born to act. They are the kind of people, if in school, I'm sure if they were asked, they'd be like, I want to play this, I want to do this. They're those kind of people.
How did Janelia get into the picture?
Janelia, we will look, when you see the movie, she's got a wonderful, beautiful role, and the song also had come out. So I was looking at, again, some particular, which I can't reveal, some particular role fit and blah, blah, blah. It was Amir sir who, so I was giving him some thing, this is the kind of, and yeah, the other thing is whenever we used to discuss casting and all, right? So I always used to say, like a reference point or something, like, I would never give a name. I'd say, this is what the character should be like in the script. And then the casting directors would give options, my team would give options. And so Amir sir told me one day that, hey, I just got off the call with Ritesh, and Janelia's also there. Do you think Janelia might be a good idea? I jumped at her like, yeah, I think actually that's a great idea, because she's phenomenally talented, and she's super popular. She's a gorgeous person and a very beautiful human being. And something in all these years, there's something which has happened to her, which has made her like in Hindi there's a word called tehrav. There is a certain stillness that has come into her, which is different from the Janelia we know in South.
That's exactly what the actress Madhu,
Yeah.
who was introduced in Tamil as Madhubala, she was talking about. You know, like in her younger years, there was a rush to finish the scene.
Correct.
And kind of, I'm not saying Janelia is like that, but there's a certain,
I know what you mean.
I want to hit this mark, I want to say the scene, I want to do the scene, I need to make sure the camera. Versus now where she was talking about how she actually feels what she's doing, and she's that Tara.
Kareena Kapoor again, Kareena Kapoor is giving her best performances right?
now. Yeah.
She's so experienced, and they go through all the experience, and kind of it bubbles in, and somewhere they're like, there's a certain confidence in their just holding space, in the frame. So we needed all that in the movie, and apart from the manic energy and the amazing, the bubbly girl that we all talk about, that is still there, right?
And shudder about.
Yeah. So I think when we met for our readings, and we had a testing, so that's the fabulous thing, right? Like, most people think a reading is an insult. Like, you call an actor for a reading, they think, oh, you're testing me. I'm testing myself. You may be a great actor, but so I always tell actors that when you come for a reading, I'm just seeing the role fit, and you're helping me to see you in the character.
Yeah,
I already believe that you are very good. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
And it's also hopefully a process where I learn how to direct you.
No, and I think the other thing also is that you're seeing how that actor fits in with the rest of the people.
Exactly.
Because they might be individually right for the role,
Correct.
but something may be off when the whole team is reading together.
Absolutely.
So
that's what we did. So in fact, I had a kind of like a chemistry check kind of a thing. We did an improv with Amir sir and Janelia, and we shot it with 3 cameras. Let's see if I can get that footage out at some point. But you see them developing the character which is there in the movie. I just gave them an improv exercise where say it in whatever language, and just gave them a prompt each which they didn't know, which was tied to the character, and he would enter. She would not know what he's going to say. He does not know what she's going to react, right? And then this whole beautiful thing happened. You see how useful all this is. I could see my film taking shape, right?
you're very privileged, Prasanna.
Very privileged.
This is...
It never happens, right? It's that man there.
No, really.
It's that man there. Trust me. So I remember Gamal sir was asked, why are you, in Tamil he said, I'll say it in English here, why are you constantly, buttering up Raja sir all the time? You're sombu tukifying for Ambara. He says his music is like that. Same way, in every interview, it's been love letter to Amir Khan, but then you understand it, right? This is
Yeah.
what we thirst for. This is what we thirst for. So when I met Amir sir, I asked him, can we do this? Sir, I would love to do it, but you're such a senior actor. I hope you don't take it any other way. I had planned all this in my head. I just told him, improv, when is it? I said, sir, tomorrow. He said, okay, I'll do it. I'm like, oh. But, and dude, it's like he's fully on, man. He's on. So I think what it does is, Baddy, that they talk about the Amir magic, right? This is the Amir magic, that he gives time and he gives respect to the process. So once this thing happens, right, what happens when Amir sir turns up? Then how will others behave on set?
Yeah.
They're all like, oh, this is, beautiful. And so in that process, I could see my two characters evolve. I could see Gulshan, I could see Sunita, I could see that. Then I edited it together and I played it to AK Engineer. And also it kind of gave them a feeling of this is what this guy likes, This reality, this realism is what he likes. And constantly I would refer to that on set to kind of see, okay, calibration of color type, like, okay, this is a tone. So I think that process of working, if, like Amir sir, if everybody gives the time, I think it will help a lot of us to work better.
And see, the strange thing is it's almost standard practice in the West.
Yeah.
Like nobody said the reading is a must.
Yes.
The workshop is a must.
Yes.
It's not like, somebody turns up and suddenly decides to, switch on during the camera or something like
Correct.
that, right? It's like, this is a process. Because it's also about getting used to the other actors.
Yeah.
Or getting unused to the other actor. Whatever.
Correct.
It like, so that
That's
that.
amazing you said that. You know what? Part of my job was to separate Amir sir from the Sitaare.
Yeah.
Throughout this time, I would make sure that they don't meet Amir sir.
Yeah.
Because Amir sir possibly can handle it. But I needed to make sure that Amir sir's overflowing empathy towards them doesn't come, because it's quite a tough role for him to play. To say these very insensitive and rude stuff is not easy for him, because he's the antithesis of that. He's the guy in Satyamev Jayate. That's how he is in real life.
Yeah.
And he has to say this horrible sounding stuff, right? And why I wanted him to do it is because when he says it, he will do it with innocence,
Yeah.
So we actually separated. So Amir sir and I had decided that we will not have workshops between Amir sir and the Sitaare, and we would keep them maybe a few days before shoot. We kind of bring it all together, and that also added pressure on me, because I'm presenting them kind of like all the scenes to Amir sir, and what if he's like, this is all crap, it's not working. So, but it worked out well, and that kind of distance we had to kind of maintain in the beginning at least. But again, what happens, even on set with Amir sir, like, so respectful towards the text. Like, even if one word has to change, he will make sure that Divya was there on set almost every day. That's again a big privilege. So it takes a village to raise a child, I think somewhere, if we all have this privilege of working with a producer like this, then automatically your input becomes better. And again, I think we are obsessed with, like, is it a hit or a flop? I think he is not obsessed with that. I think he's obsessed with, are we giving it the best? If we give it the best, then it's like, okay, as long as it connects with people, it will work.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that precisely because a lot of good action films have come and many which didn't work, there might be the need for a palate cleanser. Like, if I'm an audience, I want to watch today a happy, quintessential Amir Khan film, or a quintessential Raju Hirani film for that matter, which the whole family can go to, elders and kids can go together. In fact, that is what Hindi cinema used to do really well. Those family films, right? We used to make fun of it down south, Dilwane, Dillania, whatever. Even I find it tough now to Dilwale, Dulhania le jayenge. Because I used to see in Chennai, all our friends from the north who we used to very derisively call Set, they used to go in droves, man. They used to do that really well. So I think any film that is good will work. There might tomorrow be an action film from Hindi, which will do super business, and then people will be like, oh, we are back.
Yes.
I think what matters is that the movie you make should connect with people, and that you'll only know post facto. You cannot.
So, all the best for Sitaare Zameen par.
Thank you.
And pleasure talking to you. But would it also be like, I just want to look into Prasanna like a little into the future and say, are you now more convinced that you would rather wait and do the movies that you do or you want to do, rather than maybe doing movies for the sake of monetary reasons or other reasons? And two, is that a privilege that maybe certain other filmmakers cannot have?
Well, we always do movies for monetary reasons only. And again, not to extend this too much. It's like love. It's like romance. It's like sex. Each to his own.
Yeah.
Like what turns me on may not turn you on, right?
I love how you keep going back to that area. Okay, nice.
That's why I did Kalyana Samadam. Different folks,
This
different
explains,
strokes.
this explains Kalyana Samadam really well. Shubh Mangal Savdhan. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No, it's just that, dude. I mean, like each one has got his own way of loving stuff.
We've all got our kinks. Yeah.
Yeah, and some people, just love. It's the same thing, right? Like when I meet so many filmmakers, you see that the film has been done with conviction.
Yeah.
Like for example, Atli is a dear friend of mine, right? Lokesh Kanagaraj, Karthik, they do films with conviction. I think that's what matters. As long as you're doing films with conviction, if tomorrow I find 10 scripts which are great, then I'll do one after another.
Yeah.
I think what matters is the heart of the filmmaker. Are you doing it out of conviction? I think that is what today audiences want to see, whether it is larger than life or closer to life or whatever. I think I think we would like to see something made with conviction.
No, I'm talking about you. So the thing is, you
same. So for me, it's not about waiting or not waiting. Like I just want to be. If I found a story today which excites me, then why not? But actually, story doesn't come like that. You can't really plan it beyond a point. You keep developing stuff, but something happens in society. You're also a product of that. You're also evolving. Then suddenly, at one point, you kind of shortlist 3-4 subject matters, and one of it kind of clicks.
Right.
It could also be like Amir sir, reaching out through Shamat. Then that kind of influences your thing. Okay, then maybe should I pitch it to Amir sir? It could be a various things like that. But I think I would like to preserve what I've had.
Right.
In terms of, and it is a privilege to do that. To do films only when you want to is the biggest privilege. To do films at all is also biggest privilege.
Right. And to finish with a middle class question, the way it works is you make X amount of money for one movie and treat it wisely so that it tides you over till you get your next movie. Is that the way it works?
Sort of.
Because that is a question that is going to impact a lot of decisions of filmmakers, especially people who
correct.
Who need.
Well, I think I was really blessed with a wife who was working in the corporate for 11 years, and she would make consistent money. I would do corporate videos. I would do whatever I could. I did workshops. I used to teach filmmaking. I would bring in money. She would bring in money. And since we were living in Chennai, that's a place where you can actually. I don't know how it is right now, but it's a place where you can actually survive with dignity in without spending too much money, right? If you're a frugal guy. So I remember going to our anniversary we spent with a Taj dinner. We had Maggie and curd rice at home, and we went to the Taj only for dessert. So I think all credit to my wife, because she is the person who was standing by me throughout.
Yeah.
And now she's turned a writer. She's quit her corporate job about 5 years ago.
How lovely!
She's turned a writer.
Amazing.
So now I'm like now like it's revenge. So now you are the person who's going to have. So the first month, she survived without that SMS or whatever. Say, your salary is credited. So she's like, oh my God, should I go back to work? Oh my God. I said, welcome to the club.
That is why I said middle class question. That's like because we all worry about, not worry.
No,
what I'm saying is like, because you've been trained to think of a job as something that you're not supposed to enjoy, but something that is a source of income. So when people like you or people like even me, we are privileged to be doing things that we want to do, that we like doing, that we are hopefully good at doing. So when this comes, it also comes, to...
Yeah, because money is also a taboo subject, right?
Yeah.
But it should not be. Like, really credit to my wife. It's a complete partnership. Like, she was like, I'm going to go to the corporate, I'm going to make this happen so that, you don't have to worry about, bringing in the money home. And my guilt would make sure that I bring at least 70% or 60% of that. And this is a calculation I used to keep doing because I used to feel very guilty. So when there was a time when I could kind of tell her that, okay, you can, but I've told her the same 11 years only. She said, no, that doesn't count because I've also given birth. And so it's a very long, it's the argument.
There is more, So
she said, no, for me it's a lifetime because I'm living with you, right? So there's depreciation happening.
Yeah. So, but this is amazing. Thank you so much, because I've always been interested in knowing how. It's not just about making the movie, which we'll hopefully discuss after the movie's release or something like that. But there are the process of being a movie maker,
Yeah.
and your strange journey, not strange, but your offbeat journey of
Yeah.
starting there, doing
Yeah.
this, doing that, and while trying to retain a voice as opposed to doing pan India, whatever. That's a different journey.
Yeah.
And I wish you all luck.
Thank you.
And looking forward to the film.
Thank you. If I may complete with just one line about Amir sir and people like Amir sir, I feel that I've told this to him recently also, that to have self-confidence is rare. To believe in oneself is rare. People like you and I do that. We go with that crazy spirit.
I had zero self-confidence.
You're quite confident.
None. No.
So I think to have self-confidence is rare. To have confidence in someone else is rarer still.
Yeah.
Right? My dad did that for me, my in-laws, my whole family, my wife. But then that's again family, right? To look at a guy from Chennai who's made one film here on a video call and say, you know what, I think it's going to work out. I think that has what has created Lagan and Dangal, and he constantly puts faith in directors. I think that's very, very, very rare, Baddy. And that's like, I tell him that he's like the last of the Mohicans. You know, it's like, with more and more corporates, with more and more AI, more and more Excel sheets, how do you quantify that gut feel of Mr. Amir who says that this director I'm going to go with?
Yeah.
I think that can't be defined. You know, even you should ask him how he does that. But I think that is what cinema is all about, the faith that one guy keeps on another. And I've been very lucky and privileged to work with 3 producers who are all directors themselves. Arun
Vaidyanathan,
Anand Rai,
and
Amir sir.
Amir. Wow.
So this is, a lot of love for those people who champion, like the dialogue in the movie, right? मैं तेरे लिए लड़ी, उनके लिए तू लड़ेगा. Amir sir is that, and all my producers have been that. So I think producers have been kind of derided and all that, but they also need to get a lot of love.
Yeah. Especially, these kinds of old school producers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
And I hope that...
I think that the derided producers are the ones who just pretty much say,
Yeah.
here's your money, and
the financial
producers. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Even they don't deserve it. But the thing is, they look at the movie like a project, right? So it's like,
which is fair.
I have this, I have so and so's dates.
Correct.
You have to finish writing by then. If you exceed that, whatever. Which is why you find a lot of people writing on the sets because they're not given the time to finish the script. Right.
That's true.
Because supposing I'm a producer and I say,
Yeah.
You start in Jan,
Yeah.
then suddenly you get news that a star is available in April. That star,
There's a lot of pressure to...
That's a lot of pressure to complete a script in 3 months. It's like, it's a thing. So then what you're doing, you don't want to lose that opportunity.
Correct.
So you say yes to it.
Catch 22.
But then you're like going there and you and your ADs are trying to write scenes as you're shooting or whatever it is. And so much goes wrong. But sometimes that goes right also. I mean, because
Casablanca was
made that way. Yeah, and there are zillions of films,
well-planned films which have gone wrong.
Which have gone wrong. So,
but that's the magic of cinema. You don't know.
Yeah.
Sabka apna normal.
Yes.
Plugged it like a true Bollywood director.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. All the best.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you.